everybody, and welcome to Hex Token Channel. Your host, Superman, in the house. Hope everybody is doing well. And, of course, get in there, folks. We're going to have a lot of fun today. And so, yeah, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And, of course, get into the chat. We love a lively chat. This is the way to go. Now, if you haven't gotten to our Discord, the link's in the video description. So definitely join us if you like good information, good community. Get into that, and of course, we're going to have some workshops coming up soon, and that should be fun too. Going to have some special guests coming up also on the channel, so stay tuned for that in the days ahead. It's going to be a bit of fun. So cool. Now we're going to have a good time today because we've got PulseBitcoin, PulseDogeCoin, and Asic all pumping in the same ecosystem, and that is pretty fun, right? Pretty fun to see that in the bear market, and they are pumping hardcore. So it's good to see a lot of good vibe in that space. Welcome to Hex, welcome to Pulsechain. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, hey, we get that testing it out before Christmas or just in the new year. I think we'll be very happy campers. That's going to be awesome. So stay tuned for that. If the rumors are true, then we should have a lot of fun. Katie's in the house. Hey, good to see you, Katie. Katie is first, that's for sure. I wish I could. The one thing about YouTube chats is they don't have any feature where a content creator can like reward the people in the chat, and I'd love to do that. It'd be pretty cool. We got Rango in the house as well. Let's go. How is everyone today? Good to see you, Rango. We've got Dave down under as well. Good morning, cult members. Obviously, Dave's referring to a video that was put out by a YouTuber. I think that was just pretty much clickbait, right? So they know how that the Hex and Pulsechain community is very engaged. They're pretty much just trying to grow their channel from my point of view. Nothing to see there, folks. Dave Down Under says, can we guess which one of the three is Mr. Superman? Says Dave Down Under. You can guess, that's for sure. Brendan says, Hexkins are the bestikins, and I do like that catchphrase. That is true. And I'm sure there's a few rotten bags, apples in the bunch there. That's funny. Brian's in the house there. Sup, folks? Good to see you, Brian. And of course, Katie as well. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you too. We've got Sarah G in the house. Hello, everybody. Good to see Sarah. We got Brazology as well. Let's go. That's right. Let's go. I like that. That's also on my video title, I think. And what else? We got Christian in the house. Hi, familia. Good to see you. Tufon as well. What's good, Superman? What's good? Well, the ecosystem's having a pretty good time. The old PulseBitcoin, PulseDogeCoin, and Asic. ATMs are probably doing pretty well. Also, just didn't have enough room to put them on there. Get into our poll, by the way. Our poll is up. And what does it say? Well, let me just remind myself. It says, have you enjoyed the triple pump? PulseBitcoin, PulseDogeCoin, Asic, do you own those? Basically, enjoying those, or all of the above? Yeah, baby, yeah. You're enjoying all of that. That's pretty cool. Portfolio looks much better in the last couple of days. Wookie says, loves a good pump. Me too. And DGN Hexkin says, yo, good to see you, DGN. Cliffian as well. Lordy Lord, your thumbnails, ladies, violinists. Now, I think they're well-known triplets in the UK. I think they're well-known musicians. Triplets in the UK. That's where I think they're from. But hey, they kind of resemble the triple pump with the triplets there. So cool. Love updates, bro. Says Crypto Luckbox. Hey, thanks for that. Appreciate that. Crypto Curious in the house as well. Good to see you. And Ted Nelson as well. Hey, everybody. Good to see Ted there. And Brazology, yeah, front running the payout today. Man, oh man. 6.63 Hex per T-share. Amazing. We're going to talk about the Hex daily stats towards the end of the live stream. But that is just a beautiful, beautiful payout. Nice one, Briz. Briz does love them a lot. It's probably Briz loves them the second most out of anybody in the Hexkin community. Briz loves them the second most. That's just the way it goes. Wink, wink on that one, Briz. Wink, wink on that one. All right, so cool. Let's get into it, though. We're going to get into the stock market. We've got lots to talk about, so stay tuned. We're going to get into Kevin O'Leary as well later on. So with FDX, so stay tuned for that. Stock market today, Dow gains as tech rebounds ahead of inflation data. Man, we've had quite a sort of a negative week on the stock market with the old interest rate inversion, 2 years versus 10 years. And, of course, the Fed sentiment with the stronger services, non-property services sector and things like that, wage inflation and things like that. So it's good to see a bit of a green day today, a green day heading into the weekend too. Obviously, crypto is 24/7, right? So hopefully that bodes well for us over the weekend. And let's see where we are. We've got Dow Jones is up 0.5% to 183 to 33,781. Remember, that's the top 30 industrial firms in the United States that are in this Dow Jones index. The S&P 500 is up 0.75%, almost 30 points to 3,963, but still below that 4,000 mark. The NASDAQ with all the tech companies in it is up 1.1%, 123 points, and of course back over that 11,000, which is cool to see, 11,082. The US dollar is down 0.25%, down to 104.78 versus its trading partners. So a little bit weakened off there, which should suggest that the commodities should do even better. We'll check that out now. We've got Brent oil is down 73 cents, almost 1% down to $76. That's really cool. That's so cool. Let's have a look at last year for the Brent oil there. You know, back we were up in June here, up at $120, and so $120, isn't that insane? No? And of course, we've come all the way down, down to 75. That's a dramatic fall. That's dramatic. So what's that? $45. $45 in that space of time, 6 months. Man, times have changed quickly. That's cool. That should help pull headline inflation down. And of course, we got our CPI data coming out on the 13th of December. If you just saw my economic indicators for December, you'll just see that. There were a couple. I posted that a couple of days late, but still we're in time for those key indicators. Right, so cool. We got that. We've also got the natural gas here. We've got the West Texas here is up 22 cents to $72, and you can see that sort of peaked out at $121 there, and it's down $72. Amazing. So good to see that pull off. Now I'm expecting that to go up in the future, but we'll enjoy it while it is around at the moment. We got silver at the moment is at $23.30. That's kind of where we're at the stage. That's obviously a slightly off dollar. The silver's gone up a bit more, and yeah, let's see if we can get a rally in that silver later on. Gold at $1,801. You can see over the last year, what is that? For the last year, we've been up as gone the wrong one there. Over last year, we've been up. We peaked up at 2,046 back in March, so 9 months ago, and now we are down at 18, but still having a bit of recovery. We bottomed out at about 1,630, so it's actually a pretty good short-term run there. And of course, silver also doing pretty well. Back in March was about just under $27, and of course is now got down as low as 17 and back rallying up again up to 23. So actually doing pretty good there. Is the old silver. That's kind of the commodities. Let's jump into the commentary though. The Dow rose Thursday as tech rebounded, shrugging off a climb in the treasury yields as investors looked ahead of data due Friday, expected to show a further easing in inflation. So that's tomorrow, right? That's tomorrow. And of course, we're already on Friday here in good old New Zealand, Kiwi land. So we're ahead of time there. Apple jumped more than 1% to lead tech higher, following several days of losses in as C-19 restrictions in China, which are expected to weigh on iPhone production. I don't know if you've seen some of those things. They have got internment camps over there. They are horrible little boxes that people are being put in. They are basically leading them through the towns and putting them in these internment camps. It's disgusting. They have drones going amongst the streets with these big signs and spraying the places with stuff that's probably not doing anything to deal with the issue. There are words on the street that a lot of people haven't even got the issue. So it's just so draconian, honestly. This is how far these idiots will go to oppress people. It's just stupidity, which are expected to weigh in on iPhone production were eased. So there we are. If you haven't seen some of those videos, go check them out. They're pretty insane. And of course, people in the West want to emulate that sort of crap. So once again, stand up for your freedoms, because if you don't, you're going to lose them, and you can cry later on. That's basically what you can do. Chip stocks also played a role in pushing tech higher, rising more than 2% following a rally in NVIDIA and NXP semiconductors as investors awaited further insight into chip demand as semiconductor bellwether Broadcom reports results after closing bell. So you've got to remember that even though a lot of production's in Asia for semiconductors, a lot of the high-end machines that actually do a lot of the semiconductors is built in the United States. And so this is pretty important. Also, obviously, underlying computer technology that we, pretty much have a modern society based on that and electricity, right? So that's kind of where that is. Microsoft, meanwhile, was up more than 1%, even as the Federal Trade Commission said Thursday that it was planning to sue to block Microsoft's the $69 billion acquisition of video game maker Activision Blizzard, citing anti-competition concerns. Not the first time we've seen that, right? Microsoft and Google and stuff like that, they pretty much buy all the competition and they get that stranglehold on everything. It's pretty bad. So there we are. Treasury yields, meanwhile, continued their ascent, but had little impact on the growth sectors, including tech, as investors looked ahead to data due Friday, expected to show that producer prices are slowing. Let's hope so, eh? Let's hope so, because that's going to feed in potentially into the Fed interest rate rise on the 14th, and we want 50 basis points pretty much. A continued retreat in producer price pressures will increasingly secure a smaller rate hike of 50 basis points come Wednesday, where, however, a larger than expected rise or worse, a reversal in the downward trend would undermine the Fed's plans for a pivot to a less aggressive policy. So that's going to be one of the feed-ins there. Still a steep inversion in the Treasury yield curve, a harbinger of recession that hasn't been seen since 1981 continued to keep fears of a Fed-led recession alive. So that inversion there, the 10-year, 2-year rate yield spread there. So that's what we're talking about there. All right, so cool. If the yield curve were just mildly inverted, maybe you could make the case that the long-term outlook looks better than the short-term. But given the magnitude of the inversion, I think that certainly tilts my opinion towards a potential recession. Obviously, we've been sort of pricing in a recession up around 90% or so. So no change there. That's pretty much it. So that's kind of the highlights here in the stock market. Let's pivot away. So a good day, pretty much on the stock market in basic summary. So nice to see that before next week, right? That's when we're going to have the inflation and the Fed Reserve coming out on this Friday produces prices. So let's hopefully they all have come back a little bit there. And anyway, so then we're going to move into crypto. Crypto having a little rebound. So nice to see that too, following the stock market today. 17,233, up 2.24%. Yeah, baby, yeah. We haven't had the hammer fall yet. Maybe in the future. So it didn't happen in November. So let's see whether it does happen later on. Nothing is inevitable, but I still feel that we've got so many issues around that 12 to 14K and pray, or 11K and pray is still in the play. Maybe it's going to be in February. I don't know. It certainly hasn't happened in November. And the market seems to be holding up so far. Next week might get rocky, though. If we get a 75 basis points from the Fed, then that might do it, right? That might be enough to trigger the shorters getting into the market and shorten the hell out of the place. We'll see. Excuse my French. Parlez-vous français? All right, so we've got ETH there at up 4% at $1,281. BNB up 1.8% to $289. Let's have a look. We can't see any particular standouts at the moment in the dark green. They're all pretty light green, so a couple of percentage points up there at the moment. The stable coins are pegged, which is nice to see. There has been questions over both USDC and USD Tether. If those actually something went wrong with there, that would be disastrous. Make FTX look like a small baby compared to if a USD Tether or stable or USDC were undermined. That would be absolutely catastrophic. Anyway, so the crypto would still keep going, but that would certainly be absolutely a magnificent smash on crypto. So let's hope that these stable coins are getting stable. Now, this is the cool thing about having there are 4 main models of stable coins out there with variations inside each of them, and sometimes across them too. I think kind of BankX is trying to create this cross model version, right, with 4 or 5 different type of methods in there. But typically the best ones have been fiat ones that are backed 1-to-1. But of course, you've got to know that they're actually backed 1-to-1. They've got to have that confidence. And a good model is the exogenous stablecoin, which is what Liquid Loans is going to be like, right? With what Liquidity is. And of course, those have performed pretty well as a stablecoin. So in terms of liquidity, and no doubt Liquid Loans will also. So that's kind of cool. Those cool models, and they're better than these because these still got issues around transparency. USDC does do a monthly report, but USD Tether there is a bit more dubious. So we'll see how we get on there. Definitely, if you're going to have your risk management in stable coins, it's probably a good idea to, even if you've got, let's say you have 15% of your portfolio in stable coins, it's probably good to have that broken into maybe a couple of different types, right? So maybe a bit of DAI, bit of USDC, a bit of USD Tether, have your even your stable coins risk managed. That makes sense. So yeah, definitely worthy of thinking about that. So cool. Let's jump over to some of the news though. SEC, of course, new guidance calls on firms to report cryptocurrency exposure. So the SEC new guidance calls on firms to report cryptocurrency exposure. And of course, this guy here involved with FTX, a bit of a dodgy dude. Nevertheless, he is running it at the moment. Securities and Exchange Commission on Thursday said companies issuing securities would now be required to disclose their exposure to cryptocurrencies in their public filings. I kind of find this a little funny because crypto is still a very small market, and the chances that a lot of firms have a lot of exposure is pretty low. So this is a pretty tedious type of stuff. But it looks like they're doing something right. Hey, we're doing something over here. We're doing something over here. Don't look over there. We're doing something over here. So yeah, companies will now have to include crypto asset holdings as well as their risk exposure to FTX, bankruptcy, and other market developments in their public filings. The SEC's Division of Corporate Finance said in a letter to firms which are on ongoing reporting obligations. Companies should consider the need to address crypto asset market developments in their filings, it added, stressing the need for companies to deliver clear disclosure about the material impacts of crypto asset market developments. Potential materials impacts from crypto exposure may include a company's exposure to counterparties and other market participants. And of course, this is the issue here with DeFi. We want to get out of the counterparties. This is certainly one of the points that Richard always talks about. And of course, getting rid of the middleman, as he says. Of course, he's a bit more explicit than that, but that's kind of where we go. Risks related to companies' liquidity and regulatory and legal impacts in the crypto asset markets. Now, this is going to affect a very small amount of companies, honestly. And of course, obviously, institutions that are playing seriously in it, it will have a bit more meaningful impact for them. But for the large part of the US companies, this is going to be a no burger, a nothing burger. In the wake of the collapse of crypto brokerage FTX, the SEC has been criticized for not taking a closer look at digital asset firms with lax disclosure and governance procedures. SEC Chair Gary Gensler said earlier this week the securities watchdog would take more action if the companies fail to comply with existing rules. And here is the cool thing is that one of the things that FTX and, of course, Sam Bankman-Friedman have issued is that they've been, when you have your terms of service, you expect if you're going to just put it into a deposit and you're going to get a basic yield, you expect to have that separated out. So those funds would be separated out from, say, margin trading, from futures, from any sort of exotic kind of financial offering. And you would know that your funds are always isolated, always ring-fenced, and they're always going to be there one-to-one. So if 1,000 people put in $1 million worth of crypto, those 1,000 people will be able to get their $1 million back. And it doesn't matter what happens to the people that put in deposits into the liquidity pools providing lending to margin trading. But in terms of a depositor, you've got your funds, right? So you put it in, maybe just putting it in there as a safekeeping, like a wallet, then you're safe that way. But of course, doesn't seem to have been the case. They seem to have commingled the funds. And of course, we seem to have some sort of admission the other day on a Twitter space from Sam Bankman-Friedman there. So that could put him in even more hot water, that particular admission there. Admission, that could be a real big issue there for him. So that's kind of where we are at the stage. Obviously, terms and conditions, if the companies are not doing their terms and conditions, then any company will fail regarding of regulations. If they're not doing it, they're in trouble. That way, they probably need to be audited, right? Need to be audited, and even then, that's not 100% safe proof there, because obviously, if companies let themselves go lax on their own procedures, in other words, keeping separate bank accounts for different type of clients based on different terms of service, then that would be a big problem, right? So it does appear that they were commingling, but also doing a lot of other terrible things as well. So I'm sure that's going to come out in the future. In any case, we're going to hear from Kevin O'Leary, who spilled even more beans about it. So I hope you guys enjoy this. It's about 5 minutes long. And of course, this is on CNBC. So let's listen to this. This is Kevin O'Leary, one of the spokesmen, ambassadors for FTX and Sam Bankman-Friedman. And of course, he's been very kind of positive about Sam Bankman-Friedman, and you'll see why now. All right, let's get into it.
I want to understand how much money you lost in the contract, but I also want to understand how the investment and this ambassadorship happened. At the time that it happened, you did disclose it, but I want to understand how you went from calling crypto garbage at one point, as you know, to deciding that this was something that you were going to stand behind.
Yes, I recall that conversation, calling it garbage, right here on this show in 2017. That was a time when a New York hotel was being tokenized here, and I was looking at that, and the regulator let me know they were not happy with that idea. And that's when I stepped away from this, because clearly the regulatory environment was not prepared. Then facts changed. I saw the Canadians issue the first ETF with Bitcoin as underlying, Ethereum, then Switzerland opened up, then Australia opened up. And then I said, wait a second, world's changing, I got to be an investor. And that started my journey. I'm an investor in the largest regulated exchange in Canada called WonderFi. The wallets are called BitBuy. We're regulated by the OSC. I have my accounts up there. Right. But I felt that getting involved when I was approached with
Sorry about that. I had the mute on. So this is a big problem that he had already. He's already said that he's got his accounts on one of his exchanges that he still owns and or involved with. And of course, that is a regulated exchange that gives him some safety. But he's still on the centralized exchanges here. So he just doesn't seem to learn his lesson. Pretty crazy stuff, right? Pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, let's continue on with the rest of the video.
With Sam Bankman-Fried, that I could get an inside seat on what was considered then. And I gotta tell you, the institutional interest in FTX on the U.S. equity was unbelievable. The amount of people that approached me saying, how do I get a piece of this deal? And I said at that time, I am a paid spokesperson. I cannot bring you as an LP. Not a single dollar that I lost is anybody else's money except mine. That's important for me because that's an issue.
How much were you paid?
Total deal was just under $15 million, all in, including a bunch of agents and that I had to pay because I needed SAG-AFTRA release to be able to do commercials for it. And when I did that, I put about $9.
So here's the thing, right? So $15 million would he get paid to be an ambassador, and of course he had to pay other people to help him with that. So he's got to spread the word on all this stuff. So this is sort of putting him under a bit of fire now, right? Because he's out there promoting all this stuff, and he hadn't really done his proper due diligence on the group. So we're going to have a look on FTX. So continue on. Now he's going to go into I'm a victim. So this is the next section. I'm a victim. So trying to back himself out from a liquidator. So if he got paid this money to promote it, one of the liquidators could potentially come after him for these funds. So let's see how he goes with this I'm a victim now scheme. That's anyway.
0.7 million into crypto that I had to pay because I needed SAG-AFTRA release to be able to do commercials for it. And when I did that, I put about 9.7 million into crypto. I think that's what I've lost. It's all at zero. I don't know because my account got scraped a couple of weeks ago. All the data, all the coins, everything. So then I lost the money I invested in the equity as well. Those are zeros too. It was not a good investment, Andrew, okay? I don't make great investments all the time. Luckily, I make more good ones than bad ones, but that was a bad one.
Okay, let me ask you this, though. When you made this arrangement, this is back in August 10th, 2021,
yeah,
you said the following. You said, to find crypto investment opportunities that met my own rigorous standards, that was your phrase, of compliance, I entered into this relationship with FTX. It has some of the best crypto exchange offerings I've seen on the market.
Yes.
Given that you were the spokesman and ambassador for this company,
yes, because
what kind of diligence did you do around this issue of compliance, given where we sit today?
I obviously know all the institutional investors in this deal. We all look like idiots. Let's put that on the table, okay? We relied on each other's due diligence, but we also relied on another investment theme that I felt drove a lot of interest in FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried is an American. His parents are American compliance lawyers. There were no other American large exchanges to invest in if you wanted to invest in crypto as an infrastructure play. So many of us said, wait a second, who's coming to this deal? We knew, for example,
this sounds like
Tiger.
This sounds like groupthink.
Did
you know there was no CFO?
Look, at the end of the day, to say that there was no CFO is also a bit of a falsehood. This was a nascent industry with a disruptor at its helm, creating positions that didn't have traditional names, okay? That's just the way it was. In retrospect, yes, it's a mistake. However, I feel obliged at this point to go to the end of this, particularly—
What does that mean?
It means that I need to find where the money went. I'm going to start with my own journey, with my own account. Bankman-Fried reached out.
So there we are. He's a victim. He lost his money, and then suddenly, amazingly, all of his accounts, whatever this means, got scraped, and he lost his data, whatever that means. And so you got this. I'm a victim now. So don't come after me. Don't come after me. I was an ambassador, but don't come after me. We're lost, and don't come after all the investors, institutional investors, because we all just we fell for this wonderful dream. And of course, these guys are experienced. I mean, these guys are experienced. And of course, they all made some basic mistakes, and he's continuing to make basic mistakes. As we saw, he's still got his accounts on a centralized exchange. So they haven't really learned anything, right? So it's crazy stuff. And you got to think about Sam Bankman-Friedman's a young guy, right? These guys are basically putting their money in there on the hype and excitement, right? So these guys are basically throwing all the experience away. And of course, what is it? It's the dollar signs, right? It's the greed. The greed has got them big time, and they don't seem to be following basic principles. Many of the ones that Richard Hart talks about all the time, which are, basic things you need to do in crypto to not only stay safe, but to thrive as well. So there we are. There's just too much money in it. Like I say, some of these guys actually do know things like this. The ones that keep their stuff on centralized exchanges, they certainly don't because they're doing the same old foolish things, keeping their crypto on centralized things. We don't own the keys to your coins, and that's a basic fundamental there. Let's hear on the rest of it. He's going to keep going around his now conversation with Sam Bankman-Friedman. So this gets even more dramatic.
To me last Saturday, and I said, look, Sam, I am just one investor, but my account has a zero in it, and there are no accounting records. Where did the money go? And to the extent you can help me, tell me, point me in the direction, because I will, on behalf of every other shareholder, go find where this money is. The next day we talked for over an hour, and he walked me through his scenario, and I learned a lot. Now, sorry?
What did you learn?
I learned, first of all, I said, what was the large drawdown of your capital? Where did the cash go? One of the biggest uses of cash was to buy back his shares from Binance, which owns 20% of his exchange. And the reason he had to do that, according to him, was that every time they applied for a license anywhere, the Know Your Client got jammed up with Binance, where the ownership is opaque. And he had to buy it back. That cost him a lot, a couple of $1 billion.
But do you think that he was taking customer funds to do that?
Yeah. Did he take that money from customers to get it?
Well, the only way to answer that question, and I told him, and he agreed. I said, look, Sam, you start this journey with me, and wherever the chips fall, that's on you, because, we're talking about this. I'm going to pursue it. I agreed last night when Pat Toomey called me to sit on that committee next week. I will be a witness there.
You plan to testify?
I've agreed to testify. He called me last night around 8 o'clock. I agreed to testify. I've spent a lot of my time on the Hill.
So there we are. So he's a victim now. Now he's going to be up front, and he's going to go on to these committees, and he's going to present. Don't look at me. He's going to do this whole thing. So it's going to be funny to see that. The other thing, of course, is Sam Bankman-Friedman. The other day on Twitter Space, he pretty much got called out and ended up giving up some information he perhaps will regret, which is talking about commingling of funds and stuff like that. So we'll see how that plays out in the courts. Obviously, everyone is everyone is due justice. So hopefully he gets all the fair trial and all that, obviously. And we'll see how things go in the future. But that's some of the interesting things happening there. You got to remember the context is that millions of people got wrecked, even if it was unwise of them to go on these exchanges. They still got wrecked, and so we'll see whether they can get any compensation or this or that in the future. So cool. It is in chapter 11, remember? So there we go. Once again, we always suggest be in DeFi, own the keys to your coins, and of course, look for quality projects. That's probably the best you can do. Always make sure you do your investment due diligence, and you'll be much better off than being on centralized exchanges, generally speaking. And of course, not having the keys to your wallet. That's very important there. That's probably the biggest lesson that you need to learn when you go into crypto is that sort of stuff around security of your own assets. All right, so cool. Let's gem it. That's pretty much it for that one. We're going to get into Hex, and we're coming up with PulseBitcoin soon. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up. And we're going to get into our Hex charts. And of course, the Hex at the moment is had a nice little move up higher with the rest of the market. is at 2.969 cents. So looking pretty good. Before we get to that, though, we're going to get into some of the comments. I'm sure we had some comments around that. Sorry about the audio. I forgot to have it on muted before. Let's see who else has just joined the chat here. I think we've got a couple on here. We've got quite a few comments in the house there. I think we've got up to Briz. Living on Crypto. G'day, Superman Hex family. Good to see you living on crypto. John Williams as well. What's your opinion on the value of ASIC versus PLSD after the transform phase? Well, I think that the ASICs should go up a lot more, relatively speaking, there, John Gibbons, especially with Pulse Litecoin as well. But the timing of that may not be exactly after transform. It seems like there's no other ASICs other than the ATMs to get ASICs, and you're going to have a dual token benefit from that. Seems pretty good to me. But at the moment, all the prices are moving up, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Hello, how are you today? Says Lies Beneath. Good to see you. Hex, Hex, PLSX, and PLSX for the win. That's true, Lies Beneath. And it seems if they get this testnet around Christmas time or in the years, boy, that's going to be bullish for that. That's for sure. Setting up the Chrissy lights today. Nice one there, Brenton. In fact, I think we're going to set up our Christmas tree this weekend, so that's going to be fun. Doing that always creates that cheer around the house. A Luxbox house, PLSD pushing new all-time highs. Yeah, we're going to get up to that in a minute. We're not too far away from PulseBitcoin, talking about that, which is our main topic for today. Living on Crypto is in the house. Yep, excellent stuff. Living on Crypto, second live stream today. Rags to Riches, now the man. I like that one. Yeah, Rags is killing it out there. Love it. What else there? We got Wookie in the house, Spikes in the house. Good to see you all. And of course, what else we got there? Evening fellow Hexkin says, check my pulse. Good to see you in the house. I just checked my price on Nomics. Oh boy, we are moving on up, says Christian. Like Fat Joe says, I'm all the way up. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hey, good to see Brian as well in the house. We got A-Bit Hex in the house there. What's up, everybody? Good to see A-Bit as well. It looked like you have a good time on that boat with all the Hexkins there, A-Bit. That look really good, some of those pictures. A big shout out for that. I knew it was a great idea to hold my PLSD. Almost doubled in prices, Christian. Yeah. Ching, ching. Very, very cool. What else? We've got a couple other comments. We got a PLSD Tynan. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you as well. Yeah, I accidentally had my mute on there. Unfortunately, I've moved past that. His pocket didn't get hurt. That's changed for him, says Christian. Yeah, well, he wins some, loses some, but yeah, he's pretty wealthy dude. So I'm sure he can absorb those losses, as big as they are. I mean, they are significant, but I'm sure he can absorb them. Christian says that went wrong when you trusted kids with your money. That's kind of true there. If you listen to Sam Bankman-Friedman, he doesn't sound like anybody that knew what he was doing. He knew how to move money around for his own benefit, but yeah, he wasn't running the exchange like a professional manager would. What a joke! He didn't do any due diligence. Yeah, he didn't. Basically, that's true, Raymond. Whatever he did was not right. Mr. Wonderful, give me a break. He is sweating now. Yeah, that's for sure. This could actually come back on him if this defense of his doesn't work. I'm not forging O'Leary. I'm no fan, but it could be argued that as a noob, he simply FOMO'd in and he's now reaping the whirlwind. He is a bit of a noob too. That he's still doing noob stuff. So that's not completely out there. But he was an ambassador, and that's probably the stinger there, Clippy. Blame game wrecked. Yeah, that's true, Katie. Katie says FBF, Sam Bankman-Friedman, nervous twitches, says a lot on every interview. He's getting worse, I think, too, Katie. He ain't a victim, he's a player. Yeah, $15 million, that came out. That's all over Twitter at the moment, actually. So people talking about Kevin O'Leary's $15 million. Using punters' friends to buy property. Yep. Demos wrecked their own investment classes. Get the popcorn ready. That's true. The Democrats, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's all. They're in the game too for that. So SBF made a backdoor that the system couldn't even detect if money was taken out, says Christian. And I think that's it. Yeah, using punters' funds. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, that's just basic no-no, right? So anyway, welcome to DeFi. Hex, of course, quality DeFi. And of course, we're going to get into this. So here we are. Hex at 2.969 cents. Obviously, after a major bear market and retrace Hex, but certainly a very good accumulation type of range. Once again, do your own investment due diligence. Check out hex.com in the video description, of course. And yeah, we're looking at Pulsechain testnet potentially coming up. That could be really, really bullish. So let's get into some of our time frame here. Let's scroll this out a bit here. So we had the ETH proof of stake merge. This was way back on the 12th of September. Then we had Richard Hart himself announce that he was going to be forking. The Pulsechain would be a fork of ETH proof of stake. So that was not too far after that, was it? That was how many days? How many days is that? 21 days. 3 weeks later. 3 weeks later, that's pretty cool on Hexologist show. And of course, now we're getting up to the time frame. What am I on the weekly here? I'm on the weekly here. I wonder if things looked a bit different on my chart. All right, so cool. Let's get up here. We've got, 24 days. Sorry, I knew something was quite right with my chart there. And we're up to 85 days since the ETH fork. Of course, the team would be working on getting that forked for the testnet. As you guys said, I've been saying that I can't see any reason why it would be too long. Apparently, they found a bug about a month ago, but the ETH team and the Pulsechain team are working on that. And of course, who will solve that first, and then will we get a testnet? We did have talks from PUSD, aka KDP, in there, and of course, also Warris from Liquid Loans, talking about, basically alluding to the fact that, at least from KDP's point of view, that told not to do too much because maybe in a couple of weeks we'd have Pulsechain testnet v3 out, which would be super bullish for Pulsechain people that done the sacrifice for PulseX and Pulsechain, but also bullish for Hex, obviously getting a copy on Pulsechain, and of course being potentially a big liquidity pair in there, inverted commas, nothing promised, nothing gained, something like that, I don't know. But there we are, coming up there. So looking pretty good. Man, if we get this before Christmas, that'd be super good. Before that, though, we've got to get through the CPI on the 13th, and of course the Fed on the 14th. That's coming up next week. So that's only a few days away, and what's that, about 3 and 4 days away, so the beginning of next week. So let's see how we get on. We've got the Producer Price Index Friday, and then of course I guess this is Monday, Tuesday for the CPI and Fed, if I remember my dates right there. But then Pulsechain after that, we've got nothing in the road between after that until February for the next Fed rate rise. Obviously got a bit of economic data coming in, but apart from that, that will give us some volatility. But apart from that, we've got a nice room to move, a window of opportunity for a Christmas run, particularly if Pulsechain V3 testnet comes out. So let's see how we can get through the other side of this Fed rate rise and see how things pan out then. Until then, we've got this volatility potentially coming up. We'll see how we get on. Let's go to the weekly, of course, and have a look at the weekly chart. We're going to, maybe I can auto that. Yeah, that's better. And scroll it along. So that's kind of where we are over the long-term horizon there on the log chart, on the weekly Hex chart. And we've got a long way away from the resistance, right, from this downward resistance. So if we break out of that before, in Christmas time around that period, we could be up at about 9.5 cents or 10 cents. And of course, you may have heard Randy Olasky give some bullish price predictions about a couple extra turns on, and maybe even 10 cents on the losing a zero as well. I've seen that around, losing a zero on Hex if we get this Pulsechain proof of stake testnet out. Now, I think it's very bullish, but once again, the market's got to do that, right? The market's got to decide, and I think it would be extremely bullish, though, from my point of view, that proof of stake version. So looking forward to that. That's pretty much the outlet. Let's have a look at the Hex Whalebot and see what's been happening over the last 24 hours. We've had a lot of penalties over the last days and days and days. I mean, so many days of penalties. Look at this one here, 63 million Hex, 5.7 million 22 hours ago in penalties. Let's see if there's any comments on that. Oh, look at Brazology's in the house, already front running. Maybe Brazology does love the T-share payout more than anybody. But there we are, to give a little heart for that one. And we got lots of people in there talking about how excited this is about this. So cool. There we are. So 5.7 million in penalties. We just kept, being a Hex staker is the best. Check out hex.com in the video description. Make sure you do your investment due diligence, of course. 7.96 million Hex there, 810,000 penalties 8 hours ago. Man, that is so good. I've been loving these penalties, man. Crazy, crazy good. We had another one early in stake here, 825 days. This one's been around since the beginning of Hex, day 1099, man. And that just got nuked. It's still got a really good, not nuked, it got a 23% ROI, but still well earlier before it was due. What's that, a 5-year period? So some crazy stuff right there. But why, buddy? Why? That's true. You needed a few more beers, it seems so. So there's an OG there. We've seen a few OG stakes coming out lately, of course, around that 3-year period. I remember back in the day, a lot of people were doing 2-year and 3-year stakes, so no surprise there, I guess, with that. So that's pretty much the whale bot. Let's jump over to Hedron. Hedron at the moment is at 1,991. So this is sitting underneath this 2,000 mark. And of course, we can see that's kind of leveled out after the downward move. Seems like it's leveling out a little bit here and is up just trying to tackle that 2,000 at the moment. And that's pretty much that. And of course, there's tons of HSIs up for grabs. So quickly look at this. We're about to get into PulseBitcoin. 5,146 sitting in the liquidity pool. This is a bit of an issue, isn't it? What do you guys reckon? This is a bit of an issue for this ecosystem. There's some good things happening in the Hedron ICOSA. And of course, then there's these getting stuck. Is this a good thing? Is this a way of getting Hex T-share deflation? Let me know in the chat because it just seems like that, doesn't it? If they're stuck in here. Maybe it's a subject to price. Maybe price will flush out some of these. That's the other way you can look at it in the future. Who knows? Maybe it goes the other way. So we'll see. At the moment, we got 41 in the auction house. So let's have a look and see how big some of these are. Yesterday, we had that one that was really big, about 1.9 million hex. Let's see what we've got at the moment. We've got 3.2 million. Oh my goodness, 4 minutes to go. Woohoo! 3.2 million hex, folks. 411 T-shares. My goodness, this is one of the big ones. Man, oh man. So that's closing in 3-4 minutes time if that no one bids on it even further. But that's up almost at 16. Oh, look at that. It just went from 16 to 17.7 billion Hedron. Woohoo! 411 T-shares. That's pretty decent. You saw that happen in live. That's pretty cool. So we might come back to that later if we've got time. 250,000 hex up here as well. 1.2 billion Hedron in there. It's about to close in 11 minutes. We've got 250,000 hex here as well. So there's a couple of big ones here. 153,000 hex, 257,000 hex, 260,000 hex. I think we're getting we saw yesterday there's about 760 people or so that have bid on HSIs and won them. And of course 760. So I think we're getting this class of people bidding that are in this auctions that are probably getting a real sense for these valuations and actively trying to get these deals out of these HSI stakes. So it's pretty interesting. Some people are trying to really capture value there is my guess happening there. 263,000, 264. So a couple of decent sized ones there as well. 253, 261. 154, 190, 127. Man, there's quite a lot of opportunities here today. 300,000, 46,000 there, 172. So quite a few opportunities there at the moment. So for a lot of people, I don't know what in the middle of the retail book range. I don't know. So there we are. Oh, 22,000. Oh, woohoo! Did you see that? Went from 16 billion up to 70.7 and now at 22 billion, all in a matter of a minute or two. Man, oh man, oh man, game on, eh? I'm not sure what the fair value is, but there we are. It depends on how you measure that. Obviously, if the prices move up over time, then what you get today is probably going to be relatively cheap. And I imagine that's pretty good. So cool. 4 minutes to go for that. That is pretty exciting, folks. There is a bit of excitement in here. If you can, these big whales are chasing these big T-shares and trying to get discounts. The only thing from Dev Huey is we had one What's NFT burn last 24 hours. That was 23 hours ago, though. 3,183 M points. So that's a pretty decent size one. We're down to 21,895 based on these numbers. So that's kind of cool. I don't think we've had anything else from him. No. So that's pretty much how that's going. Let's jump over. We're going to get into PulseBitcoin. We might jump back to ICOSA, see where that auction closes, what it closes at. It's at 22 billion. We'll see how we get on. But at the moment, the talk of the town is a PulseBitcoin, and this is our triple play today. And of course, we finally got to a main topic. I'll probably try and leave a timestamp after this video, as I always say I'll try and do. Let's see who else is in the house, though. Look at this price, $3.01 for PulseBitcoin. Looking good indeed. Let's jump back to the top here. Got a couple more comments. We'll get up to there. Living Crypto says using punters' friends to buy a property. Yeah, that's true. That'd be Kevin for sure. Demo Rect their own investment classes. Get the popcorn ready. I think we got up to those. We've got InvestX says hello everybody. UK locked in. Great show. Hey, thanks to InvestX. And Fat Sammy is in house. Hi all. Good to see you, Fat Sammy. AP as well. Pulsechain is a ticking time bomb. It certainly is, AP. And, despite all these big centralized stuff falling, man, it just amplifies how good Pulsechain's going to be. Man, it's almost like everything's playing out just right for Pulsechain, even though we've got to, wait the time, which is, you got to have a lot of patience. It's been quite a while. Even with that time delay, things may just work out perfectly right, where it just goes boom, 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 boom. The good and the rest of the market sort of amplifying how good Pulsechain is going to be. So I'm getting excited about that. Fat Sandy says, good to see you all. What a day. What a day indeed. And Sandy Beach is in the house here. Good to see Sandy as also. Who else is in there? We got Patrice Von Paris in the house. What's up, folks? Good to see you. PulseBitcoin just launched, says Brian. It is launching. Look at that. That thing is really launching. The high yesterday was $3.59. We're currently at $3.01 on PulseBitcoin. This is one of three that have really pumped, or pamped, as we say, pamped. What else there? We've got a couple on there. PLSD says Asic hit $1.92 earlier, it looks like. Went up over $1 during the stream, says Brian. Nice. It's a Hex Token channel pump. What else have we got going on there? PLSB, $8. Really living on crypto. $8 by Christmas. Hey, that's probably not out of the ballpark, living on crypto. Obviously not investment advice, but that definitely is possible. I know Pepe was originally talking about $20. He's a large whale in the space. So that's a PulseBitcoin, $3. Will we get this $8? Remember, I've talked about this in the past, that sort of $9, $10 was talked about, but people had price targets like $20. We're currently at $3, so still a long way to go from that point of view. We're getting the volume picked up here. Let's have a look here on PulseDogeCoin. It has been rocketing too. Look at that. Woohoo! Now, this seemed totally undervalued, right? Because it was sitting with over 52% burn. And here we were down at $3 at some stage, $3.77. Kind of crazy. I think it hit 52% burn somewhere in here like a couple of days ago. And, of course, maybe 2 days ago. And now we are up at $8.48. And, of course, the all-time high is $9.47. $9.47 just about. And we're at $8.48. So we're $1 below the all-time high. So at the moment, $1 below the all-time high, or 98 cents, closer to that. So cool. And I got the red plane. I'm going to make this plane green because you just never know. This thing is probably going to keep going up higher. Breaking this previous high would be very bullish for the old PulseDogeCoin. People will be looking at that and hoping that it breaks that old high there. So cool. That is pretty much it. We are in RSI is getting into overbought territory, but only just, and it could stay up there for a little while potentially. But it's definitely in the overbought territory. So just be a bit more cautious at this level. But it's probably got a bit more room to move, is what I would say. Not investment advice though. Let's look at the Asic token. Man, this got pumped. Look at this thing, man. Almost got up to $1.97 yesterday. We're currently in the new day, so this candle's new, about 20 minutes old, based on hopefully my clock there. So we're at $1.73 at the moment. And man, this thing got pumped all the way. We were down here at 74 cents. It's basically added $1 so far, even higher when we include up to there. It's about $1, it's $1.25 or something. So crazy prices there. Let's have a look at the percentage gains from back here. It got up to 165%, is up currently up 134% in 9 days. So let's see where this goes. They have got massive activity going on at the moment. So that's definitely coming up there. PLSD says copy here in the morning. Yeah. PLSD just hit $3.85. That was a little while ago. Big player moves, says Patrice. Definitely big player moves. Everyone said Pulse Dodge and Pulse Bitcoin was a joke, but all three are pumping. Wolverine went missing for a while, and now he is back. Things are pumping. Coincidence. PLSP on Nomics, $3.85. Pulse Beta says, yeah, no coincidence there. I think there's no coincidences. Pulse Beta. Hello, everybody. Good to see Genuine. And, of course, good to see everybody in the chat there as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button, hit the bell. Now, let's end our poll. We've got 58 votes, so we're going to end the poll. It's a good time to do that. These charts are looking spectacular, though. And, of course, have you enjoyed the triple pump? All of the above? Yeah, baby, yeah. 68%. So 2/3 of you are probably owning some of this and all three of these and enjoying the pump. So congratulations to you out of all the 58 people that voted. We've got Pulse Bitcoin 15%, Asics 10%, and Pulse Dogecoin there at 5%. So definitely a lot of people have transformed into PulseBitcoin. No wonder it's over 50% there. So that's pretty cool. Let's go back to the Hedron stake here, the 3.2 million Hex. It's continued on. It's now up to 24.2 billion. Just dumped up from 22 there. So that's going pretty well indeed. Let's go over to PulseBitcoin though and see how the transform going. 11 days and 17 hours to go until the end. Are we going to see some incredibly stupid things happen with the price? When I say stupid, I mean absolutely awesome stuff happening with the price as we lead into the end of this transform. There will be pullbacks. You got to remember that. The pullbacks are always in the game. But how high can these things get to? And of course, after the transform, you won't be able to get Asic token after that except through ATMs. And there aren't many ATMs. So that's going to be an interesting. Asic seems to be at the top of the list for me with the ATMs there. You can decide. I haven't been looking at the ATM valuations, but the Asic seems to be the case. Yeah, so those two seem to be the highest. Obviously, you need Asic to get PulseBitcoin, and of course, I believe PulseLitecoin in the future. So it has a double utility. But then, of course, PulseBitcoin is the main output at the moment, and of course, the main meme coin is PulseDogeCoin after a massive burn. So yeah, I kind of feel like that rank still holds true. I've talked about that for weeks and days, and seems to be the case there. Have talked with others about that as well. So no surprise there. But 11 days and 17 hours to go, and we're already pumping it this early on. It's going to be fun to see this play out. All right, so cool. Now, I think that there's more than just whales pumping the price. There's also the idea of whales pumping the price to get the growth as well. So doing campaigns, we're going to talk more about that in a second. So what else there? We've got 3.2 million PulseDogeCoin burned. Man, oh man, 52.569% has been burned so far. Isn't that incredible? And of course, transformed into 15.772. So 15,772,000 Asic tokens. Pretty cool. There is a lot of Asic tokens around, but they do get burned as well. 25% burn every time people go to mine using their Asic tokens. So we've got total mining power of Asics is 19 million. So there's a lot of Asic tokens around, but they're going to be burned over time. So that's an issue as well. Now, obviously, the mining reward will go down for PulseBitcoin. So that gives you more value, I guess, over time for PulseBitcoin also. We've got 7,146 miners, so that's gone up again. Remember, it dipped below 7,000, back up, and want that 7,146 miners, which is good to see. 35,000 Asic has been burned so far, so still a relatively small fraction, but that will grow over time also. The amount of PulseBitcoin that has been mined, 2,458,000. And of course, the first halving will be at 10.5 million PulseBitcoin. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, just like the Satoshi Bitcoin. And that's where it is at the moment. Now, I think there's about 1,050 million. Sorry, did I say 1 billion? 1,050,000 PulseBitcoin. So 1,050,000 Bitcoin, I think, has been minted so far out of all that's been mined. So what's that, about 40% or something, just over 40% of the mine so far. All right, so let's jump over to the Asic token miner. These are tradable on Rarible and OpenSea. There are 2,046 of them. I haven't looked at the valuations, but I'm presumably these are getting more valuable. We've got 1 million here. And of course, we've got redeem points, 3.5 million. A lot of the big whales just redeem straight up out of the gate. They don't wait around, and they're up mining their PulseBitcoin, right? So that's what they're doing. And they have pretty much done that. So cool. And we've seen that 3.5 million there added to, I guess, this 15.7. So what's that? 8 million, so over 19 million. And of course, we've got 90 million mining. So I guess there's some of that difference is just sitting in people's wallets, I guess, not mining for some reason. Maybe it's in liquidity pools or trading or whatever. Who knows? But there we are. That looks like the total makeup there. So in the meantime, though, the market is pumping. $1.74 on Asic token. We've got $8.48 on PulseDogeCoin and $2.97 on PulseBitcoin. And let's see where this things go. But I think there's potentially lots of more upside. But that being said, there's always big profits in the game. And of course, as the price goes up, it's you've got more players that are out there willing to sell into it. So we'll see how that plays out too. A lot of the whales, of course, are accumulating positions. If they hold their positions, that supports a higher price. So we'll see how that plays out too. Now, Wolverine has got a big campaign on at the moment, 10,000 PulseBitcoin, and that's now worth $30,000. It's gone up in value. Yesterday, it was worth 22,300. Now it's worth close to $30,000. So it's not a small prize. read the details below. And of course, I read these out yesterday, so I'm going to read them again today. But if you want to participate, I'll post the link to this 10,000 Pulse Bitcoin, PLS Pulse Bitcoin competition. So there we are. That is it there. So definitely get in to go for that. And of course, 318. So spread the word. Obviously, this is about growth. There's a growth strategy here. So what do we know about the price in crypto? What's the biggest pump mental? Biggest pump mental is a green price chart, right? People like to pay higher prices. They see a green chart and they go, this thing's a winner. And they get on there like a chicken dinner, right? They get on there like chicken dinner and they're just chasing their price. That's what happens in crypto, right? It's probably the biggest fundamental that you can have out there is a green price up and to the right, right? But like when Hex was doing, the 10,000X, it was doubling every 40, 60 days or whatever. It's a bit like that. Boom, boom. Everyone's like, man, that thing, let's jump onto that train. And of course, this is kind of a little bit what's happening here. Now, the other thing, of course, they've got this growth strategy on. Now, Wolverine's not the developer, right? But he's one of these big whale enthusiasts, a bit like Pepe and others out there. And of course, they're looking, so far they're looking at the long game. He hasn't played the short game that I can tell. Short game is where one whale decides to dump on everybody else, right? So, but it seems to be playing the long game where they're trying to actually, looks like they've got this some sort of loose alliance here that's trying to actually grow the community and fulfill the ultimate promise of having the virtual Pulse Bitcoin be like the Satoshi Bitcoin, but a new offering, allowing new people to come into a new land, a bit like the Wild West in America. He had to go and get that new land and, of course, develop it and make it valuable. So maybe there's a bit like that. But it's still the Wild West. Let's not get away from that. But at the moment, of course, everything's going pretty well along that line. So cool. These are all the details that you'll have to read through to participate. It is open for a couple of weeks. Originally, it was 3 days. It's going to be open for a couple of weeks. Definitely getting into that as well. Multi-platform as well. Originally, it was TikTok, but you can do multiple promotions to help them grow the community. So it's actually a very good initiative. And hats off to Wolverine and the rest of those people for doing that. So that's pretty cool. Lots of cool things happening there. That is pretty much it. We're going to jump back to that one. Let's go back to the stake here. Oh, it's up to 27.5 billion on the 3.2 million Hex HSI. Man, oh man, oh man. That's awesome. 3 minutes. This keeps getting extended all the time. Man, oh man. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. 27.5 billion. Let's see how it goes. Now, this is one of the very biggest ones that have gone through here, right? So no surprises there. That is crazy stuff. All right, so cool. That is pretty much it. Let's jump out of these ones. We're going to go to the airdrops and free claims. So if you haven't joined our Discord, hit the link in the video description or maybe in the chat. Someone of the moderators might post it. And, of course, if you like good information, good community, get in there. We're going to have some workshops coming up too, particularly around Hex and other topics. We'll have other topics coming up, so stay tuned for that. Now, obviously, these if you go to Pulsechain chat, we've got 2 chats, a Richard Hart chat and a Pulsechain chat. Under the Richard Hart, under the Pulsechain chat, we've got airdrops and free claims. You can go check out some of these. So we've got Zen at the moment. Obviously, this is a free claim mint, so anyone can actually do this. There's no qualifying criteria here. We are waiting for the Zen NFTs to come out, and that's, for my view, is going to be super bullish. So otherwise, this chart will probably just keep going down, but the Zen NFTs have changed the whole chart. And so we'll see how that goes. At the moment, it's at 6,361 with 5 zeros. We'll be watching this pretty closely. Potentially, if people do participate in the NFTs, there are 3 categories and multiple classes of NFTs. And the top one has a 10 billion burn. There are 100 of those, and there are 10,000 of the exclusive burn NFTs at the top. The other ones have smaller burns, but the big ones have there. So this could be a massive burn on this. I think there's 1 trillion or so tokens for the Zen on ETH. There are 10 chains, of course. That is a pretty big project from that point of view. And we're going to be watching this one closely. It is the Zen NFTs have really changed the game on this one, and moved it maybe out of the possible play for a longer term to more of a probable play for a short term. We're going to be trying to keep a close eye on those launchings. Currently 4th testnet for the NFTs, so we'll be watching that, and of course auditing and things like that. So stay tuned. That could be a bit of fun. All right, so cool. That is the Zen one. You can mint that, of course, easily yourself. A little bit of gas fee, $3 or something like that in a weekend, something like that. Weight token there at the moment is at 27/100th of a cent. It has been moving up a little bit here, but just over a quarter of a penny, basically, almost 3/10 of a penny. That's kind of where it's trading at the moment. Most people are waiting. There are 8 different sacrifices to qualify for that. You can go see whether you are qualifying. And of course, the third one there is Paul Pleb. That's somewhere between, if you did a sacrifice for like $10 to $1,000, then you can participate in this. Currently, it's at 3,865 with 5 zeros. Just tinkering along here at the moment. Has got a higher low, but it has not got a higher high yet. So far, just tinkering around here at the moment. We'll see where it goes to. Now, I think there's about 20 days left in that claim, so you can go check that out as well. But remember, do your own investment due diligence on that. That's pretty much that. BNBP, our speculative play. And of course, this is the world's first peer-to-peer crypto casino. So there's actually new technology in crypto, basically. New formations is actually far more complicated than most of the other projects. And of course, we're waiting for the next two big games. Roulette is one of them. So we're waiting for that to come up there. Currently $7.35, and the market's just easing here at the moment. So we'll be following that. We'll get more news later in the month of December, no doubt, and more fireworks in this chart, no doubt. So once again, it's going to be fun. Now, we're looking at this from the staking point of view. Obviously, having those revenues coming in through the stakers, and that will grow all things equal. Ceteris paribus, as the revenue increases, we'll see how that plays out. So cool, that is pretty much it. We're going to get Hex daily stats though. Day 1002, hot off the press. Before we do that though, let's get into the chat. We're just over the hour on the live stream. I'll try and leave I will try and leave a contents afterwards, so people can jump to the section that they want to look at for all those that are watching the live stream afterwards. Let's get into some of the comments though. We've got a few more comments in the house. Let's have a look here. I think we got up to all those. Money printers, yeah, they're definitely money printers, PLSD. What else? That's the asset token, I guess you're talking about. Katie says Maximus Maximus has earned 75,101. Icosa with 139 billion Hedron staked. 1.76 trillion Hedron will be added to the Poly stake December the 14th. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. I need to do more coverage of that actually, so Katie. So good reminder. Patrice says big player moves, definitely. And Pulse says everyone said Pulse. I think we got up to those actually. Genuine, hello, Genuine. Good to see you. Hello, everybody. Good to see Genuine house. Like it up, definitely like it up there. And PLSD says the Asic for me is the play at the moment. Yeah, I think that's so. I think that's kind of I feel that too at the moment. We've got 1 minute and 39 seconds, 28.4 billion Hedron on this 3.2 million Hex HSI. That's closing out. That might actually close out soon. We'll see how we get on. We've got PulseBitcoin, $3.05. Woohoo! $9 on PulseDogeCoin. Oh, wow. It's only about 47 cents away from all-time high there. We've got $1.83 on Asics. OMG. Congratulations, all you holders out there. At least 58 of you have said that you're in the game. You're playing on the field. So it's cool. You're off the bench. I know, off the bench. I don't know. But you're off the bench, but that's pretty cool. All right, we're going to come back to that. Looking pretty good. What else there? Pulse says, I wonder if Asics will drastically lose value once several halvenings occur. That's the issue, Pulse. That would be the countenance. Yeah, that's what I was trying to hint at before. So, yeah, I agree with that. Smash the like, people, says Rango. We've had a correction back to $3 on PulseBitcoin. What else there? Let's jump through here. Chicken dinner, says Fat Sammy. Yeah, did I get that saying off you, Fat Sammy? I'm not sure. Insane, says PLSD. Definitely insane. Fat Sammy says, I'd love to have 400 T-shares. Wow, says Fat Sammy. Yeah, well, so apparently these guys do too. 26 seconds to go, folks. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Is this going to close out? We had so many bids on this. We watched it all the way from 16 billion up to 28.4 in a matter of minutes, didn't we? That must have been like 15 minutes, something like that. 20 minutes maybe. 13 cents, 12 minutes, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hopefully it's closed off. Sometimes you get this late bid come in on the blockchain. It looks like it's finished there. 28.4 billion Hedron for 411 T-shares, 3.2 million. That's one of the biggest ones out there. So it was just a bit of a luck us covering it. And there we are, folks. You saw that auction close. Nice. Very nice. But there are lots of good ones up for grabs over here down on this list. There's actually a lot of good ones in there, quality there. So definitely check that out. All right, cool. Let's get into Hex Daily Stats, though. We're going to talk about that. So we've got day 1102, the 8th of December. Man, heading towards Christmas so fast, isn't it? Feels like that. So what else there? We've got 2.96 cents there, 5.2% increase in the price. Very nice, as we say. We got the payout per T-share is at 6.638. And, of course, Brazilji talked about this earlier. Man, look at that. So juicy. Look at that. 6.5 the day before, 6.599 before that. Man, look at this stuff. It's just so good. Really is amazing. If we have a look at the current one at the moment, 6.248 is basically the base amount. It's just insane. Hex T-shares, man. The maths is working, right? The share rate is working. People are got to understand and wake up. We're in year 4 now, year 4 of Hex. People got to understand that share rate, understand the T-shares. It only gets better from here. It only gets better. The maths gets increasingly better for owning T-shares. It doesn't get worse. It gets better. Okay, it gets better. It gets better. How many times do I have to say that? It gets better. It doesn't get worse. So get your T-shares while you can. While we're at the bottom of the market. I don't know when the market's going to truly bottom, but we're up to 85% pullback. That's a pretty good place. We have Pulsechain testnet V3 come up. That's game on for at least the local short-term price. It's going to be fun to see. Now, obviously, T-shares at the moment is up 1.1 to 25,232. That's only going up and to the right, and it's going to get steeper. It's going to get steeper up there. It's going to get steeper. How many times do I have to say this? For goodness sake, we're going to have a workshop. We're going to have a workshop and talk about this. US dollars there, 747 at the moment. And of course, imagine if the price triples, right? This price triples, right? It goes to $2,100. So I remember that. The 747. And of course, you can get this for a third of the price if you go out 10 years, right? So you remember that too. Now, I'm in the camp of a staking ladder. Now, clearly the maths in Hex is best after 10 years, up to 15 years. That is easily the best maths for Hex in terms of accumulating Hex. Easily. But I'm into staking ladders. I think that's a pragmatic way of approaching life. We have stuff there. And if you don't need the stakes when they come due, you can just restake it or scrape the interest. It's up to you what you want to do. That's the sort of play I think is practical, right? So, but some people don't need it. If you're nice and young, or if you want to pass it on to your family, you can stake out the long way and get the best math return by a long shot within the 15 years. And of course, out in the future there, you can get you'll be quite a large account by the time you have your T-shares out there with that as well. That's despite growth. That's despite massive growth. The share rate is part of that magic sauce there. Now, I always say if you're going to do that, I would probably. Yeah, okay, I haven't said this on the live stream before. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm looking out here. I'm looking out. Don't want to get in trouble here. But if you make sure that you front run the Maximus and the Hex Godwell. Make sure if you're going to stake out long, try and do a staking ladder. You front run those guys, okay? Just between you and me. All right, you never heard it here. It's not on live stream. It's not on YouTube. There we are. So it's just a figment of your imagination. You wake up with a dream. And that was the alpha in the dream there, just run that. All right, so cool. Moving on. We're being a bit silly, but moving on there. 6.73 is the average stake length. We're at the APY yield there. Emergency in-stake penalties, 39.73%. These are mind-blowing numbers. Absolutely amazing. Hex is the best out of the best there for a certificate of deposit. The first one on the blockchain, but it's no ordinary certificate of deposit. It is supercharged, right? It is crypto supercharged. And, of course, it's part of the special mechanisms that Hex has, and it's pretty cool. Now, liquidity there in the pool, 302 million is how much Hex is there. And of course, yesterday we had 320. So we're down about 17, 18 million from there. Liquidity in the pool is at $11 million US. Very nice, as you guys know. And of course, remember I said yesterday back when we were in September 21 with the all-time high, we had probably about $35 million in this pool. It's currently sitting at 11. So you can see how that's going to increase the price with more US dollars buying up Hex, basically. Liquidity in the pool, 1,565. Let's jump over to the T-shares. As I always say, Hex is easy to understand. We have a reward pool with inflation and penalties in it. And, of course, we have an ownership pool with T-shares or trillions of shares in it. And, of course, if you have the reward pool or the ownership pool go up or down, then the Hex payout per T-share changes every day. That's pretty much it. So the more T-shares you have, the more of that you get, pretty much. So yesterday we had a massive increase of 16,232, but we had these big decreases in the last 10 days. Look at that. And today we've got another big candle coming out there, I guess 10,200 T-shares coming out. And of course, 10,274,000 T-shares are in this ownership pool. And of course, that is pretty low compared to what has been. And of course, this is what I mean, that get your T-shares because it's going up and to the right there from the volume point of view. So pretty exciting stuff. And we've got so much good things coming up as well. If you haven't seen my four-year video, that I did after the Hex 3rd birthday, that looks at a lot of the things that we know of that are coming up in the future that are great, wonderful fundamentals for Hex. So definitely check that video out if you want to have a forward-looking view of what's happening with the Hex circulating supply. because it's something that I particularly like to keep a look at. Now, circulating supply isn't a short-term price. It's more about how it's going to drive long-term price. So that's why we keep track of that over time, and sometimes medium-term price as well, which is a lot of functions in there for 2023. So let's have a jump over to the amount of stake percentage of coins. We've got 9.72% of Hex is staked at the moment, and we had almost 8 million in Hex penalties. Look at this stuff. The last 10 days, 8 out of the last 10 days, over 1 million Hex penalties. This is in addition to the inflation distribution to those who are minting. So Hex is pretty much like Bitcoin with a proof of work change. Instead of the miners getting the block reward, you guys pretty much get the inflation. And of course, you mint them yourselves in an immutable contract on the blockchain, and no middleman, no enterprise in the middle. And of course, therefore, no security, right? So it's just living out there on the blockchain. Pretty cool. Change in total stakers up 55. Sorry, what was this? I think I got the wrong one there. Wallets here up 30 in the wallets there to 314,325. This is what you'll see on the Ether scan for the Hex contract. Is that number. And of course, the current stake is up 32 to 116,158. Now, I do encourage everybody to get out there and do direct promotions. Richard Hart likes that, and I've been a big fan of that too. And of course, it's a good time to do that over and over and over, because it takes a little while to get your audience to respond to stuff. So it's a good time to do it at least 3 times in a short period of time, maybe every week, every 2 weeks, something like that. Up to 116,158 is the current stakers. And of course, total holders up 175 to 516,095. So that's pretty cool. We've got day 1,103. That's where we're in at the moment. And the base amount is around about 6.248 Hex per T-share. Very, very nice indeed. That is the Hex daily stats, looking good. So we're up to it now in 12 minutes. Let's get into some of the final comments here. We're going to go to the charts. Which one should we leave it on? We'll just leave it on all three. We got $2.96 for PulseBitcoin, $9.07 for PulseDogeCoin, and $1.84 for Asic tokens, and they are just climbing. Let's leave it on PulseDogeCoin actually, because that might get a new all-time high while we're on the live stream. That is getting pretty close to it. We are only, what's the high here? We're only $9.46.8. So we're not too far away from that. We are 40 cents away from an all-time high here for PulseDogeCoin. So we're looking forward to that happening on live stream. Who knows? Could happen. Fat Sammy says, we'll jump through that. I think I've got to that there. Yeah, there is Discord. Brian's posted that. Appreciate that. If you want to join our Discord, good information, good community. Hex Fetty says, Mint Zen, you cheeky bees. He says, wait, that's the wrong accent. Mint Zen, you degens. Yeah, that's probably the truth there. It's just gas fees with no caps, says Hex Fetty. What else there? We got smash the likes. Good content as always, says Sandy Beach. I appreciate that. Goddamn PLSD, says Alfred. Good to see you, Alfred. And playing Asic game at the moment, says Genuine. Pump, says Brennan. That's true. Patricia says, woohoo, done, deal done. Thank you for the yield, says Patrice. Nomics was always bullish, says PLSD, on the price probably. Hey, Property View in the house there. Hey, nice show today. Hey, Property View, very, very cool. If you guys haven't checked out Property View channel, he does some really, really great property reviews of mansions. I think he just focuses all on mansions, and they're very, very cool. He's a bit of an upcoming Hexkin there too, I think. Good to see Property View in the house there. Definitely check out his channel if you like mansion walkthroughs from an international realtor there. Pretty cool. Patrice says bidder, says Patrice. That's true. Another PLSD pump, says Katie. That is what's happening right now. And Sandy Beach says, yes, tomorrow is the famous sacrifice. That is true. That is coming up. We have covered that the last couple of days, but that is definitely coming up. Hopefully I'll remind me tomorrow if I forget, Sandy Beach, to talk about that, but that's coming up. That will be one of the better utility ones from my point of view. Obviously not investment advice, but definitely check that out. Yeah, famous, it says. Cliffy says, I have my dislike button re-enabled, and as far as I can tell, you've never got even one thumbs down, says Cliffy. That's nice, man. Appreciate that. Another ripper suit man hit the like, says Aussie Stone. Hey, thanks for that. We're coming up to now 15 minutes. Very excited. Woohoo! Now I'm not sure. This will probably go to all-time high on PulseDogeCoin, I should say, after the live stream. But we're going to wrap up here now. 15 minutes is kind of where I like to hit to. So occasionally I go to an hour and a half, but we're going to wrap up there. I will try and put a timestamp after the video. I want to get into doing that more often because some people like short videos. So if they can just jump to their section, I guess that's close to a short video too. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, of course. And I hope you guys have had a good time. let me play out some cool, fun music on the way out. And of course, well, let's hear from our founder because he likes to jiggle it. Jiggle it, is it? Or I don't know if that's the right word, but he likes to dance and move. So here we are. All right, take care. Bye for now.
Here in my $3,000 Valentino Rockstud purse, my $3,000 Prada jacket, $2,000 Prada shirt, $2,000 or $3,000 Prada pants, Prada glasses, Prada hat, Prada bracelet, and it's all Prada, 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 Prada shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters' tears fall right off. Prada, 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 Prada shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters' tears fall right off.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.
Yeah.